Hi everyone. I didn't realize it went that quick today. Today
It's
is
so quick.
You've got
the connection.
That went really quick. Usually gives us like a little pause in between. Good morning, everyone. I am Holly Vega, and we are taking off for this summer with. We're still doing Mimosas in the morning, but we're doing a little bit different. We're calling it the realities of real estate, and trying to answer some of the questions that have came in to our company. We're about to embark on our 1-year anniversary, so we're coming back to a little bit old school, like who we are, what we do, why we do it. So today we're going to talk about, with Iris, about commission.
Why a realtor, what our job is, how we earn our commission, and what that all looks like.
Also, we're going to use an example of, because we're going to buy a new property. So Holly wants a house.
Okay.
So Holly wants a house. Everybody knows that I look forward to the day that my husband says he is going to retire and we get to buy a house in South Carolina. I have been searching, and Iris has said to me, "What? You should just really build something." Because I have a folder. Does anybody else have that? Do you have like a little file on your laptop or whatever that, and you put all these pictures in, everything you really want? And I haven't been able to find a house that even has half of what I really want. And we've moved to the
champagne taste.
That's what she says. I have champagne taste, which, by the way,
yes,
celebration.
You can't have mimosas.
Yeah, so if you're going to have a new home, you got to have a little bit of mimosas going on. Celebration of buying a new home or getting a piece of property and building what you want.
Yes.
So let's start with that first.
Start with why a realtor?
No, let's do the build the house, because you're going to build it and then you're going to have to get your commission, right?
All right, let's do this. Okay. So you want North Carolina?
No, South Carolina. But I would take North Carolina.
No, you know what? We're going to do Tampa. Tampa's my market. I'm not going to speak to what happens in South Carolina or North Carolina. It's not my market. I'm going to stay in my lane, and we're going to do Florida.
But we have realtors everywhere, but she's right. So let's stay with Tampa.
So knowing Holly's taste, we're looking at about $1 million. No, let's go ahead and use the VA cap here.
400.
Yeah, it's 484, 350.
So that's good to remember. That's the VA cap.
Well, but that's different for every market. Not all markets are 484, 350, and then there's that law making some changes. Okay. So we're going to use, why don't we just use 480? It's a nice round number.
And then doesn't matter what rank, doesn't matter what service, any of that.
Has nothing to do with that. It's what the VA is willing to guarantee.
So if we're in California, that is going to totally.
It's well over 600,000 is the cap. I believe it's 650. I'd have to check. But yes, and good luck finding a 4-bedroom, 3-bath in California for 650. That was one of the reasons that they looked at changing the cap, because some areas are just too expensive. So let's go ahead and start at 480. So I'm going to do 480,000. Math first thing in the morning. It's a great way to start the day. So at 480,000, realtors are paid a percentage of the sale price or purchase price as a commission. Now, there is no standard commission. Commissions can be as little as 0%, all the way up to 5%, 6%. It can run the gamut. So we're going to cut it in the middle, and we're going to say 3%. So multiply that by 0.03. So that $14,400, that sounds pretty good, right?
Right. I want $14,000.
Okay. So let's go ahead and break that down further. Let's go ahead.
What she's trying to tell you is she's not getting $14,000.
Oh, no.
She would like the $14,000, but that's not happening.
Yeah. So I want you to multiply that by 0.7. So about 30% of our commission, sometimes more, sometimes less, goes to brokerage. So that's
brokerage
right off the top. They got over $4,000 of that commission. So let's go ahead, and we are going to go ahead and take. That leaves us with $10,080. Still not bad, right?
No.
We're in 5 figures.
So you think she's getting $10,000?
Not so much.
That's what she wants you to think.
Okay, so multiply that by 0.7.
0.7 again.
And that's conservative. So we have to pay the tax man an additional $3,000-ish. Okay. That leaves $7,056, which still sounds like a lot of money, right? Except
I can go on a cruise. I'm not down
well,
5.
That $7,000 has to pay for assistant, marketing fees, hourly wage, licensing fees. I spend about $1,500 a year on my license. Plus additional monies for training. I spend a couple $1,000s a year on training. Why do I do that? Because it makes sense for me to bring my customers the best that I can possibly get and the most updated information. So
You went just in February, you and Trish went to
I
a
did.
training. You went to New Orleans.
we went to New Orleans for a 3-day training event, and we brought back a lot of information that was beneficial to our customers, that was beneficial to the business. So that's $7,000 minus the expenses. We're going to do this. Take $7,056. I want you to divide that by 8. That comes down to $882 a week. Divide that by 40. $22 an hour.
That's what you get.
That's, well, before
With your
all the
average
expenses, I get $22 an hour, which doesn't sound like a lot of money until you realize that I'm guiding you through probably the most expensive investment you'll ever make in your life aside from your children and your family. So
Right.
that's, when you ask, I'm going to show you another thing. So 3%, if we represented it as $3 bills, right? A third goes to the brokerage, a third goes to the tax man. When we ask realtors to negotiate, you're asking them to give up a percentage of that dollar, that last dollar that they've got. And that's how I feed my family. I, raise my kids, I send my kids to college. That's how I do it, is from that dollar. So I just want to make sure, I know everyone says that our commission is a gift. They don't give realtors gifts. And I certainly don't ever expect to get from my
And I
customers.
get asked this
That's
a
not
lot.
my role.
And thank y'all for reaching
Yeah.
out to me. I do know what Iris likes, trust me. Even her cute little wallet is something I bought her. That's sitting here, she just pulled her dollars out. But the best thing that you could ever give
Is a referral.
is a referral.
Because that referral is how I'm going to help pay my daughter's college tuition. That referral is going to help my
That's
daughter
how she's going to
get,
keep this dollar.
Yeah, that's how I'm going to buy school supplies for both my kids. That's how my
You're going to
husband
employ
is.
me.
Yeah, that's how she gets employed. That's how the assistant gets employed. So when you ask a realtor to reduce their commission, you're asking them to devalue what they provide to you. And sometimes you get what you pay for.
Right.
I would certainly never do that. But you have to remember there's an investment of time and expertise. And quite frankly, we don't get paid to find you a house. We get paid to navigate you through a transaction.
Mm-hmm.
Because you guys know, and I know, we go to the big Z or the big R
Yeah.
to look at houses.
Zillow.
That's the if you
don't know.
Don't say that.
I know, but if you're looking and you're going, what is she talking about? A Z and an R.
Yeah.
I
it's
can say, she wants to say
Zillow.com.
realtor.com.
It's so, that information is so readily available to buyers these
changes.
days, and it changes. Sometimes it's not as up to date as we would like it to be. But my job is to navigate you, and your realtor's job is to navigate you through the process. And we really earn our dollars when things go sideways, when we have to renegotiate, when building codes change and the builder forgets to tell you, and that actually happened to somebody, and her chandelier wouldn't fit. Her very expensive chandelier wouldn't fit in her master closet. So we were able to negotiate a $40,000 incentive for her. How did we do that? Leverage. So we'll go into that in a little bit. But that's
or another thing. Yep.
yeah. So Holly has her house for $480,000.
Yeah,
My assistant gets paid, and my marketing fees get paid a portion of them, and I make a little bit of money to pay my daughter's college tuition.
So on this though, we
Yes.
do want to say that for military, not just spouses, I mean anybody, we see a lot of retirees or veterans and stuff that are in real estate. And the reason why they do that is because,
So the reason why we see a lot of military go into real estate is, number one, we relocate a lot, and we feel like we can save money. If we go into a new area, we can get a referral fee for ourselves, that sort of thing. It is a transferable licensing. Sometimes there are states with reciprocity. You just have to go in and take a test and you're licensed there. I will say,
which is not, is that expensive or
it's not. It's
so
not.
That's another reason why.
It's not super expensive. Not all states have reciprocity, so you would have to go and look at the state laws that from the Department of Business and Professional Regulations for the state you're PCSing to. You're going to want to see, number one, if you have to start over with your classes. Number two, I would recommend see how long you're going to be there, because it may make more sense for you to take a back seat and become a licensed assistant to an existing agent and negotiate a really good incentive package from them. Bonuses based on your performance.
So give a little detail, a little bit more about that, because I know everybody's going to be like, ooh, what is that?
Yes. So as a licensed realtor, I can show properties. Wait, let me back up. The difference between a realtor and a real estate agent. A real estate agent is licensed in the state. They've taken all the exams, they've taken the classes, they have to do their continuing education. What differentiates a real estate agent from a realtor is a part of the National Association of Realtors, and we have committed to a certain code of ethics that any layperson can go and take a look at. But that's the difference between a real estate agent and a realtor. Now, let's say you get licensed. You're a buyer's agent for me, you're working, you're very, very happy, right? Because
Yes.
I treat my buyer's agents good.
Yes.
Hi, Liz.
Yeah.
But let's say you're PCSing to South Carolina. Okay, great. You know what? You don't know the market. You aren't sure you want to commit yet to working on a team or starting your business. Let's say you're only going to be there for 2 years. It doesn't make sense for you to do the initial business startup costs. So what you can do is park your license in what's called a referral status. And that means you cannot actively work in real estate, but you can refer business and collect a percentage of the commission. It's passive income. If any of you would like more information on that, feel free to
That would be
private
so
message
much
us.
more my alley.
I wish I had known that
Yeah.
20 years ago when I met my husband.
Right.
Because that could have been so beneficial to us as we PCS from duty station to duty station, because we know who to refer people to. We know a lot of people as we move, and that could have been a passive income stream for my family that I didn't even know about. So,
And if they're interested in this, how do they contact you?
they can go ahead, you can private message Military and Home Base. I'll reach out to you individually, and we can talk about how we can make this happen for you. A lot of people ask, well, you know, I don't know yet if I want to go through all the licensing. Maybe I don't want to be in referral status. Maybe I still want to do some real estate. What you can look into is being a licensed assistant. That means that, well, let's say Trish was licensed. Trish is my assistant. I love her. I could not survive without her. I've been pushing her to get licensed. If she's licensed, she can go and sit inspections for me. If she's licensed, she can act as a showing assistant and receive a percentage of the commission just to show properties. She doesn't have to do any of the negotiations. She doesn't even have to really know the area, because we would set up the itinerary and she can just go take people around. So she's basically a key to get them in the door, because remember, your realtor earns their commission by navigating you through the transaction, not by just showing you houses or finding your house. That's the easy part. The hard part is relying on the experience to get your transaction closed. Like I said, particularly when there are crazy things that happen. And believe me, there's crazy things that happen. I learn something new every day.
And I always say I don't want to be a realtor for that reason.
But she would love.
I would end up giving you.
But I think you would love. I've told you this before. I think you would love being a licensed assistant, because you have all the fun and none of that responsibility.
I just want to show you the pretty. Let me show you the pretty. I want to see this chandelier now.
Oh, you know what? She couldn't have it because the bulkhead of her stairs cut into her closet, so it couldn't fit a chandelier. This was.
But I want to see the closet that a chandelier this brand
Oh,
could
it
fit
was
into.
massive.
Yeah.
I'm kind of jealous of her closet.
Yeah, I want to go.
So.
Yeah, we need a tour of that back way. That's for sure, right? Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about.
So that property. So here I am. And I want
Yes.
that property. We
Okay.
keep going back and forth. So what do I do? What's the best?
Process? Okay, so before you and I ever even went out, I put you in touch with a really good lender. You guys can always shop your lender. You do not have to use a specific lender to work with a realtor.
So that means they say, hey, they prefer this person. You say, no, I'm not, or this company, and you're not really feeling it. Shop.
Right. So
Don't feel like you're.
and not all
advocates
lenders
along
are created the same. I've worked with a lot of different lenders. There's a reason I have a very few preferred lenders, and mostly it's because they answer the phone on the weekend. Because let's face it, most of us are house hunting on the weekend.
Yes,
so they
Saturday
need to
and
be
Sunday.
on demand as a realtor to my military customers. Short trips, right? We have short trips to go find a house. So first process is to get pre-approved, not pre-qualified. What's the difference? Pre-approved means that they have asked you for your documents and you have sent them in and they've verified them. That is extremely powerful. There are lenders that will call it a pre-approval, and all they do is go based on your credit and what you have told them you make, or what you have told them, you know,
And
you
then
want.
there's a problem.
And then there's a problem. That's how we
There's a
end up with issues of people not getting
what they
a house. You know, you forget that you had a certain bill. You forget that, oh, well, wait a minute, we're PCSing there, so our BAH is going to reduce. That's another reason to go with a VA specific, trained lender, because they understand housing allowance, basic allowance for sustenance. They understand dislocation allowance. They understand all of that. So when they pull your bank records, they're going to know what they're looking at. So we get you pre-approved. We go and find you your pretty house. It usually takes my customers 2 weeks or less to find a house. And that's because we drill down exactly what they want. And if they're coming in from out of area, boom, 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 we get to as many as possible. And my goal is to find them the perfect house before they leave. Although I do have some that have bought remotely without.
So wonder if it's not even build yet. It's just land.
Yes. Okay. So there's two.
This is something that
yes.
I went. I took, as you know, I took 2 weeks off to actually go house hunting. My husband is 23 years in. One day he says he's staying in. The next day he's, he's a lifer. He's a retiree. We don't know. So we took 2 weeks off. Supposedly we were supposed to look for homes. Due to our military, he didn't get to go with us, so just me and kids. But we did go to South Carolina to visit. I have 2 besties, so I went on East Coast, one on West Coast. I went to go see the East Coast one in South Carolina. She's actually in Beaufort, and there's a lot of different properties that are available in her community. It's still building and still growing. I saw lots of pretty land, but that's kind of scary too, because it's like you got to remove the trees, and it doesn't have nothing. So you're starting with.
Well, but there's 2 different. We're talking about 2 different types of product, 2 to 3 different types of product when you're talking about new construction. I've helped a lot of customers do custom builds, semi-custom builds, and purchase spec homes that were in the building process. So let's break this down just a little bit, because the VA loan can work for all of those. It can. But know going in that not all builders are the same. You should trust your realtor to know which ones are going to deliver the level of product you want. Now I'll show.
Yeah, her builder came in from Georgia, actually.
Really?
They did.
And they were licensed for South Carolina.
They were able to come in and how she found her. She's so smart. I love my little bestie. They decided to not buy immediately. They lived in a different community. They liked that community. However, the house wasn't fit for them. It's great for a rental. It just wasn't what they wanted as their forever home. There was a house getting built. They loved this house that was being built in their neighborhood. They went by and dropped by and was like, "Hi, who are you? We're loving this build." And got their information, did a lot of investigating.
Yep, you have to do that. Make sure there's check with the Department of Business and Professional Regulations for whatever state that builder is out of and whatever state you're in that they're licensed to operate in. Number 1, you want to make sure they're licensed. Number 2, you want to check and see if there have been any violations or complaints filed against them. Now, know that some people complain just to complain. That's not always a bad thing, but read into it what exactly it is. If they've been accused of fraudulent activity, you probably don't want to use them. But usually if it's gone that far, they're no longer licensed. So I will say that builders are only as good as their subcontractors. So there are luxury builders that use the same subcontractors as entry-level builders. And that's not necessarily a bad thing, but just know going in what to expect. So let's say you wanted to build. Question number 1, are we shopping for land or are we shopping for a semi-custom home? What does that mean? A semi-custom home is a home that is generally within a subdivision. You go ahead and you can make selections to customize the property. You can pick your floor plan, all of this stuff. But there are parameters and limits to what you can do based on the community or the floor plan. And they usually won't make too many modifications to the floor plan. Some of them will. Usually the luxury builders, you're going to pay for that. But when we look at most price ranges, I would say about $450,000 and under. A lot of those houses are really going to be semi-custom. When you go to build, the first thing you need to know is your structurals first. It's really easy to get wrapped up in what's pretty and not what's functional.
I like the pretty.
I know you like the pretty, but it's easy to overspend. It's really easy to overspend.
I know this already.
So what's the importance of having a realtor with you with new construction? So you, Holly, are only ever going to buy one house in probably that 5 years with that builder, right?
Right.
I have the potential to sell 20 in 1 year. to that builder. So when we talk about leverage, when things start to go sideways, or when we talk about negotiating power, who do you think has more leverage?
The realtor, because
The realtor does,
knows
yeah.
all 20 homes.
Well,
What do you know?
I can bring them 50 buyers,
Mhm.
and you, Holly, while you're a valued customer, you're not going to buy 50 houses. You're going to buy one. And that's how we were able to negotiate those extra incentives for that one buyer, because I had sold several luxury homes with this builder. So they knew I was bringing buyers that were going to close. It was not profitable for them to not admit to that mistake and negotiate.
Right.
So when we talk about, do I need a realtor for new construction? You don't need one, but it would be wise to have one. And if the builder doesn't want you to use one, you need to take a step back and ask, why don't they want me to have representation?
And an inspection.
Yes.
This is a key thing I have learned
Yes.
for this package. I think if anything I've learned this year of working for military is inspection. People don't think they need one for new build.
They don't, and you do. You don't need just one inspection. If you're building from dirt, you should have a 4 to 5 step inspection plan. So you need to have an inspector that has been in the construction industry, that knows when they pour the footers, what you should be looking at: pre-slab, pre-drywall, pre-lintel, and then post-drywall, and then a final walkthrough. So you guys would be amazed at some of the things that our inspectors have found.
Yeah.
And you never would have known. You think you're buying a brand new house. Okay, you're buying a brand new house. That doesn't mean they put the amount of love into your house while they were building it, the subcontractors, as you as a homeowner.
And those inspections are great, so it's worth spending that extra money. It's kind of like a warranty. In
a sense it is.
Because if something happens.
So let's talk about that. I had a 4,000 square foot, a veteran buy a 4,000 square foot home, beautiful home. And the inspector found that somebody had dropped a beer can in a vent, and so it wasn't venting properly. Somebody had gone on the roof and stomped the roof vents. Now, you as a buyer and I as a realtor, we don't go on the roof, especially a 2-story house. Hello. That's a safety consideration.
I don't do heights.
All the vents had been stomped on, which means they weren't working at best capacity. I mean, we're talking about a $700,000-$800,000 house here, where the air conditioning and heating system wasn't ever going to work properly. The house wasn't going to properly vent. So how would we have known that without an inspection?
And being here in Florida, where it's so hot,
Yes.
mold and everything happens, very